we've got all our pieces cut out, we are going to be fusing some of the pattern pieces. The front facings here that we're going to fuse, I've already pre-cut those, and the pocket facings we're also going to fuse, okay? We're going to fuse the back neck facing as well, and also there should be fusing that we're going to fuse onto the skirt just in the front here where that facing is. Okay, so what is fusing? All right, fusing is anything that holds the shape of a garment. So this is a pellon or interfacing, which we call fusing because as you can see up close, it's got these little dots. Okay, those are the little glue dots. And so what it does is with the heat from the iron, it fuses to the fabric. Now, why do we use fusing? Well, again, it holds the shape of a garment. So at the front of your garment is going to have, there's going to be buttons down the front. So to put the buttonholes in and to hold the buttons, we put in the fusing. The collars will also have fusing, and that helps with the collars to stand nicely. And in fact, let me show you. Come around here. These are the dresses. So these are just examples of what the dress is going to look like when it's done. Okay, so I have two different styles here. Again, you're going to choose what collar you want, whether it's the convertible or the mandarin. You'll also choose if you're going to make a cuff sleeve or a puff. I'm hoping that your teacher will let you design your own pocket bag. So as you can see, there's a different style of pocket bag on both. They button down the front, and they're clean finished. So where we would have to have fusing is we want fusing in the collar because it holds the collar shape, especially for the mandarin where it stands straight up. We also want fusing down the front here, and you can see the fusing that's fused to this garment right here. And that helps when we sew on buttons. We put buttons and buttonholes. That's going to hold the shape. There's fusing on the skirt as well. And also the pocket facings. So we'll be putting fusing in the pocket facings to hold the pocket bag opening nice and good shape. Okay, so this is just an example of what the dresses will look like when they're done. Again, you can put the mandarin on this one, and you can put the convertible on that. It's your design, so it's whatever you want to do. Okay, so now how do we cut? How do we cut the fusing? So what we're going to do here is you've got your fusing, and fusing has a grain, just like fabric. So if I try to tear it, this is the length grain right here. This is cross grain. Now how do I know? When I try to tear it, it doesn't tear, it just kind of tears apart, do you see? But when I tear it along the length, it tears in a nice straight line. So that is the length. That's very important. So we're going to fold the fusing, and we're going to fold it so that the glue side is down because it's easier to draw on the softer side. And we're folding it so that the length is running along, the fold is running along the length. Okay, I'm going to put my back neck facing. That's the one I didn't cut out yet, so I'm going to place that down, and I'm going to just trace that off. Just like I did with the muslin. Okay, and I'm going to mark that half notch again. Okay, and then I'm going to cut it out. It's a little slippery. And then I want that notch in the middle again. And again, I don't want it too deep. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the iron, and I'm going to show you how to press the fusing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm opening up my back neck. Now this is the print side. As you can see that the colors are darker. So I'm going to flip it over because I want it on the inside of the garment or the inside of the fabric. I'm going to lay the fusing on top. Now the bumpy side, like I said, the bumpy side is where the glue is. The smooth side is the top. So I'm going to place the bumpy side, which is glue, down on top of the facing, the muslin, okay, the inside. So this is my outside, this is my inside. Okay, so I'm just going to lay that nice and flat, and then I'm just going to, with the iron, just kind of press, but don't use any steam yet. Just press that real good, and then just a little bit of steam. Now at home, you may want to use a little more steam. Your irons are not as hot as the ones here. So you want to make sure that it stays, that you can't peel that off. It is stuck. It's on there, okay? So I'm going to do that with all the rest of these pieces, and then we're going to get ready to start sewing. I want to show you also sewing the darts will be the next thing that we'll do. That's the first thing that we're going to sew is the darts. Now here's something that I want you guys to also look at. Notice that when I cut my fusing, I didn't cut it very evenly. So do you see how it's hanging over the edge of the fabric? Okay, that's not good, because when you start pressing, it fuses to the ironing board. Okay, and then we got to peel that off. It's not real good. So make sure that when you do your cutting of your facings or of your fusing, that it is nice and even, and it can be just a little bit smaller than your piece that you're going to fuse it to, which is technically should be 1/8 of an inch smaller all the way around. Your teachers will show you how to make those patterns, and that's really going to help. Okay. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to sew the darts. So all these drill holes that we made and these notches here that we made, those are all going to be darts. So we're going to open up the back. And again, this is face up. So we're going to flip it over. We're going to flip it over. And then the front, we're going to open that up. And we're going to flip those over to the wrong side. Okay, so now they're on the wrong side. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is, when you did your sewing notebook, you learned how to make a tapered dart. That's exactly what you're doing here, is you're making a basic tapered dart just like you did for your sewing notebook. So just a little review on that. We're going to take the 2 notches and we're going to fold them so they're touching each other, and the print is on the inside. There's the print, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it flat. I want the 2 notches right on top of each other, and I want that drill hole right there. I want that right on the fold. So there's the drill hole. Right on the fold, okay? All right, so I'm only going to be drawing my line on one side. So I'm going to measure, remember the vanishing point, the drill hole and the vanishing point. The vanishing point is always a 1/2 inch away from the drill hole, away from the dart. I've made my vanishing mark, and that's right on the fold. Now I'm going to draw a straight line from the notch to the vanishing and just run off. Just like that. Okay? I'm going to do that also for the side dart. So again, I'm going to fold notch to notch. The print is on the inside. The drill hole is on the fold. The drill hole is right there on the fold. Okay? Again, my vanishing point is a 1/2 inch away from the dart from the drill hole, right there on the fold. And then I draw a straight line from the notch to the vanishing point and draw, okay? And that's where we're going to sew. Okay, so you're going to do that for this front bodice, the 2 front bodices, and you're also going to do this for the back. So the back, you have a dart here, and you have a dart here, and then a shoulder dart and another shoulder dart. So the back has 4 darts. The fronts have 2 darts each. Okay, so I'm not going to mark them all. I've demoed. They're exactly the same way. So now we're going to go to the sewing machine, and I'll show you how to sew that dart. Okay, so I'll fold this shoulder dart, okay, because this one's a little one. So again, I'm folding notch to notch, okay, and the drill hole is right on the fold, and this is notch to notch, okay, a 1/2 inch down, make my mark right on the fold, and then I draw my line from the notch to the vanishing point. Okay, and then I'm going to sew right on that line. Okay, so I'm going to do that with all of the darts. Okay, so here's my front. I have my front, again, it's still folded, notch to notch, and the drill hole is right on the fold, and there's my vanishing point. So I'm going to sew right on that line, as you can see. I'm going to sew right on that line. So my eye is going to be right here, watching this line up right in between the presser foot, and I will sew a perfect dart. And then you just run off. Okay, when you're done running off, you clip your threads about a 1/2 inch away, leaving that little ring or that little twist. That really helps hold the dart. I don't like to back tack here. A lot of times people do that. But when you back tack, sometimes it causes it to be a big knot. So then when you go to open up your garment and you have this nice, beautiful dart, then you have this big bump right here. And that's not pretty. So that's why I leave about a 1/2 inch of thread twisted like this hanging, and that helps. And you'll notice on your own garments at home, you'll see that same thing. Okay, so now I want to do the other dart that I sewed, or that I drew. So again, I'm going to fold notch to notch. My drill hole is on the fold, and my vanishing point is right there. And there's my pencil line that I drew. So now I'm going to sew on that line. Now you can back tack down here, so I'll back tack this one. You can back tack down at the bottom if you like. And you want to keep that folded nicely and keep that pencil line right in the middle. Now eventually you're going to get much better at sewing darts to where you won't need to put a pencil line. Especially if you're using a nice silk fabric, you don't want pencil lines on your fabric. So that you would do this without pencil lines. Okay, so this is my front. This is actually my right front. So I finished that one. Now I'm going to go to the back, and I'll sew that small dart right there, that shoulder dart, because it's pretty tiny, as you can see. Okay, so I'm going to keep my notches together and line it up. I'm going to do a little back tack and then keep my line right down the middle and then just run off. Okay, once I'm done, I clip and clip. Okay, so this dart is, when you open it up, is real small. Okay, so I'm going to finish all the rest of the darts. I'm going to put this on pause. I'm going to finish all the rest of my darts, and then we're going to go to the iron, and I'll show you how to press the darts correctly, and then we'll start sewing the shoulders. Go. Okay. All right, so I finished all the darts, so now I'm going to start pressing. Now, remember, this is center front, so the excess dart right here folds towards center. Now, you guys already know this when you were doing your dart manipulation the second week of class. This dart is going across the body, so that means this excess fabric is going to fold down. So then it's center and down. Okay? For the back, they're both darts are going up and down the body. So both of them are going to press towards center back. This is center back. That means this one here is also folded towards center back. So it's like the excess fabric is facing each other. Shoulder, same thing. We're going to fold the excess fabric towards the center back. And this one, same thing, towards center back. Okay, and then we have the other one. Same thing again. Okay, we've got this dart's going up and down the body, so the fold is folded towards center front. This dart is going around the body, so the excess fabric will fold down towards the waist. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go back to the the sewing machine and start sewing. Go. Okay, so we're going to sew the shoulders together. So we want to lay the back on the table so that it's face up. So this is the print side is face up. This is the wrong side. Okay, I'm going to take my fronts and I'm going to lay them on the shoulders so that they're face down. So we want the print and the print to touch each other. So this is the wrong side of the fabric. So this is what we call placing the pattern pieces or the garment pieces face to face. Okay, so I'm going to match up the shoulders, and I want you to notice something here. I match the shoulders right here at the armhole, but notice that at center back, they're not meeting. Do you see how they're overlapping? But at the half-inch mark, they're right at 0. And that's where we're sewing. The seam is a 1/2 inch. So we don't care that this is hanging off. Where we care is right here. It's a 1/2 inch. Okay, so I'm going to sew. I'll turn it over so you can see it. Okay, I'm going to fold, or I'm going to start at the notch. That notch is telling me that this is a 1/2 inch seam and to sew this way. So I'm sewing a 1/2 inch, I'm going to back tack, and I'm going to sew my 1/2 inch all the way across. I want to make sure that my dart is still folded in the correct position. And then when I get to the neck, I'm going to back tack again. Okay. So that's my one shoulder. The next shoulder, same thing. My back is face up. My front is face down. I'm matching the shoulder at the armhole, right at the armhole here. And at the neck, it's going to overlap a little bit, but where the 1/2 inch mark is 0. They're matching, and that's where we want that to match. It's like when you're joining bias. Okay, so we're doing a 1/2 inch seam, back tack, and then back tack. Okay, so that's finished. We're not going to sew the side seams yet. That's going to be a little bit. Now we're going to sew our facings. So we're going to do the same thing. We have the back neck facing, and the back neck facing is going to face up. That means the fusing is going to face down on my table. I'm going to, again, lay the shoulders together. And this time, remember, the fusing is going to face up. The right side of the fabric is going to face down. The print side is facing down. I'm going to sew a 1/2 inch seam, back tack, and then back tack. Okay, and then the next shoulder. Again, this is the right side of the fabric. This is the right side of the fabric, so they're going to face each other. And I'm going to lay the shoulders together so they match, and I'm going to sew my 1/2 inch seam. Okay, I'm going to back tack. And then I'm going to back tack. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go to the iron, and we're going to press the seams open. We're going to press these shoulder seams open. Okay. Okay, so here's my body, and I'm going to lay this flat, and I'm going to open up these seams. So this is opening the seam, or a lot of times they'll call it busting the seam. And we're just going to press that, and we're going to do the same thing on this side. Going to bust the seam and press it. Okay, so that's fine and done. So we're going to keep that inside out right now like this, and we're just going to fold it because we're going to not be using that for a little bit. Okay, same thing here with the facings. Okay, we're going to press those open. Now, what I want to do is, before we stop the video, there's one more thing that I want to do, and we can do this now while we're at the iron. When we're at school, we have overlock machines. So normally what we do is we overlock this raw edge all the way around because nothing is going to be sewed to it. But since you're at home and you don't have an overlock machine, we're going to fold the fabric up just a 1/4 inch and press. So let me kind of explain what I just did. I have the right side of the fabric is down on the iron. This is the fusing side, and I'm folding the raw edge of this fabric. Now remember, it's the outer edge here. Do you see the outer edge? This edge here is going to get sewed to this body. So we're just going to fold that up a 1/4 inch, just like that, and then press and press. Okay, when we get around this corner right here, it's a bit tight, so we can kind of smooth that as much as you can to kind of make that pretty. Okay, as you can see, I kind of got a little point there, but it's a little bit smooth. Okay, and then we're going to go to the other side and do the same thing. Okay, so it takes a little bit, but you want to just kind of get that nice and round. You want to keep that nice and round. Okay, so I'm going to finish this off to the other end. And then I'm going to go back to this machine and we're going to stitch it down. Okay, so this is what you're going to see on the inside of your garment, this nice clean edge. So you don't see that raw, kind of terrible looking raw edge right there. That's going to clean it. Okay, so now we're going to go to the sewing machine and I'll show you how to stitch that down.
There you go.
All right, so this is what I want to stitch down right here. And I turned it a 1/4 inch, so I'm just going to sew kind of like right in the middle. Right in the middle is going to be about 1/8 of an inch. You don't have to back tack. And so what I'm doing is I'm just following this raw or this folded edge just right where this feed dog is. Do you see that? That's called a feed dog. And so it's laying just on top of that feed dog. And that's where my eye is, watching that. And I'll sew this nice 1/8 inch top stitch. And it's just going to hold it down. So as you can see how nice that looks. Then on this side, you see this nice stitch. Okay, so we're going to go all the way around. Again, my eye is going to be right here, watching it line up right on the edge of that feed dog. Okay, going around a corner is a little challenging, so just go real slow. Okay, so now I'm done. So as you can see, this is a nice line all the way across, all the way around, and that's going to be this nice clean edge on the inside of your facing. Okay, so the next video is collars. Okay, we're going to start sewing some collars. So we're going to fold this up and just set that aside, and we're going to get out our collar.